Welcome back, my weebs and otakus. It's Otakunofuji with another game video. Today we're talking about CarX Street, which is surprisingly great and is just about as close to Need for Speed Underground as we're going to get anytime soon. It does have some issues, but rather than complaining about how much EA sucks and how badly we want Underground 3, you could be having fun playing CarX Street instead. Just saying. As always, please like and subscribe if you like this or any other content on the channel. YouTube changed how it counts views recently, so it really does actually make a difference if you like and subscribe. CarX Street is an open-world street racing, tuner culture, car customization game that is ridiculously fully featured. Nothing is licensed, no licensed parts or real cars, and the soundtrack is full of artists you've probably never heard of before and genres you probably don't listen to. But that's all fine though, because it means they can sell this gigantic game for only $30, and you can be confident it isn't going to suddenly get delisted in a few years since there are no licenses to expire. The car list is full of recognizable vehicles even if they don't have the real badges on them. Just about everything you could want is here. Loads of hot hatchbacks, classic muscle cars, BMWs of all sorts, Supras, Skylines, Porsches, a few Lamborghinis, Corvettes, even pickups, vans, estate cars, and lots more. There are dozens and dozens of cars to choose from, and they're all fully customizable and tunable. The visual customization is cool because in addition to all of the body kits and hoods and bumpers, you can also change the steering wheel and gear shift handle and seats, among other things. Performance tuning options let you upgrade just about every part of the engine and drivetrain, and then dial them in with the exact settings you want. And you need to tune it too, because if you just bolt on new parts without dialing the settings in, you definitely won't get the performance you expect. I'm talking the difference between 170 and 220 plus mile per hour top speed just by adjusting some things. It's all fairly intuitive, and the game does explain what changing the settings will actually do, which is great. The game world you play in is remarkably well done. The city is a sort of mix of Los Angeles and Tokyo, but there are miles and miles of countryside highway and freeway to drive, as well as tons of super twisty Japanese mountain roads to drift around. The top right corner of the map is a complex of a few different closed race courses that are all pretty great as well. The map is big and full of variety and is pretty fun to just drive around in. There are collectible goodies all over the place too, which makes randomly driving around even more worthwhile. There aren't any police chases, but I'm fine with that because police chases in games are freaking boring. I'll add that the game does a pretty good job of throwing money at you. When the game was in early access on PC, everybody complained about the economy, but the full version release definitely ironed out those kinks. You get decent cash for winning races and leveling up, but all of the various collectibles give you money, and you even passively earn money just while you're driving around. It's not like you can just buy any car and upgrades you want at any time, but there is a logical progression through the game the economy was built around, and I never had any issues buying and upgraded the cars I needed at the time. There isn't really much of a setup here other than you're a new racer in town and have to work your way up. Blah blah blah. It isn't as flashy and stylish as a Need for Speed, but there also isn't an incredibly dumb story full of lame try-hard characters you instantly forget about constantly getting in the way. CarX Street is purely focused on racing, and I appreciate that. The flip side of that approach, however, is that it makes everything pretty dry and repetitive, and all of the various car clubs you can join pretty much blend together. There are 14 car clubs you can join, and each club has 15 to 19 races. And when you beat a club, you can then do another set of special elite races for even bigger payouts. Each club has some sort of gimmick, and eventually you end up racing in all corners of the map in increasingly fast and powerful cars. Like I said though, you do get kind of bored of it long before you see it all because it all blends together. There's no ultimate motivation really compelling you to move on to the next club. And I'll admit I got bored about 15 hours in and stopped playing, after only finishing 6 of the clubs. The game is only $30 though, so I feel like I got my money's worth. And of course, I can always go back and pick it up again. The gameplay is where things get especially interesting in CarX Street. You might be aware that there is a CarX drift racing game also available that's kind of notorious for its difficulty, but CarX Street isn't remotely as hardcore as that one. CarX Street is a simcade style game sort of like Forza Horizon, but with more of a focus on drifting. The drifting here is unique because it isn't just a hit the handbrake and magically go around corners button, like it is in so many other arcade-style tuner games. When you hit the handbrake, your car instantly, and unrealistically, rotates, and the longer you hold the brake, the sharper the angle your car ends up pointed. But here's the difference in this game. If you're going too fast, you won't turn at all, and your momentum will still carry you in the original direction you started in. Instead, you have to actually be going a reasonable speed for a given corner, and then start your drift. You have to hit the brakes and slow down, and then hit the handbrake to start the drift, which takes some getting used to, but is really satisfying when you figure it all out. I also have to say that the CPU drivers are surprisingly and shockingly terrible here. It's kind of refreshing, honestly, to have CPU opponents that actually make mistakes and aren't totally perfect. But they seriously crash a lot. You're never really out of a race because you can almost always count on the CPU drivers screwing up somewhere. In most games, the AI traffic cars are there exclusively to screw the player over and don't really affect the CPU drivers. But in CarX Street, the other drivers hit the traffic just as often, if not more so, than you do. It makes the races dynamic and interesting because you never know what's going to happen. And I know this is naughty, but I found myself having even more fun by intentionally nudging the CPU cars into traffic and walls and other stuff at just about every opportunity, like I was playing Burnout. The thing about this game, however, is that it isn't like you come to a dead stop and are totally screwed if you hit something. You generally keep rolling at a decent speed and can still catch up, which makes it less frustrating and more fun. There's also online play, of course, but I don't really do that. I'll say that seems to be plenty of people still playing on Xbox though, because you can see lots of other players driving around the map all the time. All in all, I had a pretty great time with CarX Street. It does get repetitive after a while because it's sort of dry and not flashy and over the top like other open world racers have become. But the core foundation of the game is undeniably solid. And for just $30, it's totally fine if you get bored well before you see it all. There's tons and tons of content, the racing is super fun, and it looks decent enough. The performance tuning is deep and satisfying, and the visual customization gives you tons of options to build the car you want. CarX Street is just a good game all around that is easy to recommend if you spent the last 20 years waiting for a new Need for Speed Underground. It's not quite the same, but it definitely scratches that itch, and I highly recommend it. Thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe and check out Otakunofuji.com.